transform the PAP into a quasi-legislative body of the AU. While the PAP Malabo Protocol requires 28 ratifications for its entry into force, it has to date been ratified by 15 AU member states with 21 signatures. For the time being, the PAP continues to operate under the CERT Protocol, which defines its mandate. 6 parliaments have been inaugurated since 2004.
So we cannot revolutionize the situation of Africa if we don't take the women seriously and don't change the work of women into a better, with technology, applying technology and science.
À cet effet, je sollicite la participation active et sans réserve des parlementaires nationaux, régionaux et panafricains à soutenir la position commune et unique de l'Afrique d'un côté des gouvernements africains, car l'enjeu n'est plus technique, mais politique. Il s'agit d'affirmer le soutien des parlementaires que nous sommes à tous les échelons régionaux pour que vive le protocole de Kyoto pour la survie de notre continent.
The Pan-African Parliament remains a platform for African people and their grassroots organizations to make an input into the decision-making process on the challenges and problems facing our continent.
La première leçon que je tire, c'est que le Parlement est en bonne voie. La deuxième leçon, c'est que nous avons pris un certain nombre de résolutions, notamment cette résolution concernant la ratification du protocole de Malabo, qui fera du Parlement panafricain un organe législatif. Et nous pensons que ce message doit aller dans chaque État partie pour que nous puissions ratifier.
We've gone some way in reviving, renewing, repositioning and reinvigorating the Pan-African Parliament in line with our old strategic thrust. We have a lot of issues on this continent. As people have confidence in us, they are simply saying, you are the right people to push the agenda of the continent. And the agenda of the continent is littered with a lot of challenges.
The PAP has made commendable efforts in promoting the ratification, domestication, and implementation of the AU Shared Values Instruments, including the ratification of the African Charter on Democracy, Elections, and Governance, African Union Convention on Preventing and Combating Corruption, African Charter on Values and Principles of Public Service and Administration, African Charter on Human and People's Rights on the Rights of Women in Africa, amongst others. The 20th anniversary commemoration serves as a platform to educate citizens about the PAP and ignite conversations about the future of the Continental Parliament in line with its mandate. The occasion further serves as a reminder to decision makers around the continent to fulfill their commitment to the PAP by ratifying its revised protocol, now 20 years after sanctioning its establishment. The Parliament has embarked on a process of reviving, renewing, repositioning, and reinvigorating itself to outline a vision for the future, identifying key areas for improvement and expansion, and emphasize the role of the Parliament in the African Union's Agenda 2063 and other regional development initiatives. It's time to reflect on the journey and chart a path forward.
Africa, a continent of vibrant cultures, resilient people, and inspiring women. Africa is rising, and at the heart of this transformation are women bold, visionary, and unstoppable. For centuries, they have been the backbone of families, communities, and nations. But today, they are stepping into the spotlight like never before. From politics to entrepreneurship, activism to education, these women are rewriting the narrative. They are not waiting for permission. They are taking charge, breaking barriers, and creating new possibilities for the next generation. This is more than a story of success. It is a movement of empowerment, resilience, and change. It is about women who dared to dream, who fought against the odds, and who are shaping the future of Africa. Welcome to Dear Daughter podcast with Mariam. Welcome to Empowering African Women, a documentary celebrating the achievements of remarkable women from across the continent. From politics to entrepreneurship, these role models are inspiring a new generation of leaders. Introduction to the role models. Meet our role models, women who have broken barriers and achieved greatness in their respective fields. Dr. Joyce Banda, former president of Malawi, who fought for women's rights and education. I believe that education is the key to unlocking the potential of African women.
It's heavy, but I'm able to carry it. Why? Because I'm an African woman. An African woman carries heavy loads. Anyway, that's how we are trained. We are brought up that nothing is unbearable.
Yara El-Sherbini, Egyptian entrepreneur and founder of the African Women's Entrepreneurship Program. I want to empower women to take control of their economic destiny.
I was really passionate about making art that was accessible and using accessible formats. Was that I think a lot of contemporary art has a language.
"20 years ago, in March 2004, the Pan-African Parliament was established as a legislative body of the African Union with a vision of fostering unity, peace, and prosperity across the continent. Today, we celebrate 2 decades of its journey and achievements. The establishment of the Pan-African Parliament amongst the African Union organs signaled a historical milestone, and perhaps the most important development in the strengthening of the African Union institutional architecture. It laid solid grounds for the democratic governance and oversight within the African Union system and provided a formal platform for the peoples of Africa to get involved in discussions and decision-making on issues affecting the continent. The genesis of the Pan-African Parliament can be legally traced back from 1991 with the adoption of the treaty establishing the African Economic Community, adopted on the 3rd of June 1991 in Abuja, also known as the Abuja Treaty. This treaty defined the pillars and grounds of realizing economic development and integration in Africa and called for the creation of a continental parliament amongst a set of organs as tools for the realization of African integration and economic development. This call was re-emphasized in the Sirte Declaration of 1999, which called for the accelerated implementation of the provisions of the Abuja Treaty. At the time of the transformation of the Organization of African Unity into the African Union, the Constitutive Act of the African Union, in keeping with the vision of the signatories to the Abuja Treaty and the Sirte Declaration, set out the AU institutional architecture, which included the PAP. The Pan-African Parliament celebrated its 10 years of existence in March 2014, a year which coincided with the adoption on 27 June 2014 in Malabo, Equatorial Guinea, of the Protocol to the Constitutive Act of the African Union relating to the Pan-African Parliament, PAP Malabo Protocol, which once enforced will transform the PAP into a quasi-legislative body of the AU. While the PAP Malabo Protocol requires 28 ratifications for its entry into force, it has to date been ratified by 15 AU member states with 21 signatures. For the time being, the PAP continues to operate under the CERT Protocol, which defines its mandate. 6 parliaments have been inaugurated since 2004.
So we cannot revolutionize the situation of Africa if we don't take the women seriously and don't change the work of women into a better
Honorable members, Honorable Mr. President,
thank you and good afternoon. Because we didn't sit in the morning, we observe a moment of silent prayer or meditation. Thank you. Confirmation of quorum.
Honorable President, the head of plenary will do a head count of members physically present in the chamber, and the head of ITC will confirm the number of members joined virtually. Thank you.
Now, as they count, may I make the following statement. One would be, we need a quorum, especially later on. It was our intention that today we do the Women's Day celebrations before lunch, and this was going to end around 11:30. Then we have Kappa presentation, the performance or activity report presentation, then debate. It was envisaged that would be done before 1 o'clock. The Women's Day celebrations, fortunately or unfortunately, went beyond 11:30 to about, if not after 3, yeah, almost 3 o'clock. So it went beyond by more than 3 hours. So we faced the challenge that we need to have the CAPA report, activity report. And it was our intention that this afternoon would be dedicated to recommendations and resolutions, so that by close of today, we close business. And then tomorrow, members would have a free day. We know some may want to fly out in the morning, but yeah, that's the best. If they're not flying out, have 1 day free before you fly tomorrow. So we have this challenge that, are we going to achieve that? Do we want to come back to the chamber tomorrow to finish business? That's an issue that will confront us this afternoon. And the issue of quorum for recommendations, of course, tomorrow is likely to be worse. The attendance will be much lower than what we are seeing, usually. Unless those who are attending virtually can give us the numbers. Right, how many do we have present? Madam Clerk?
Honorable President, there are 44 now, honorable members in the chamber and 0 online for now.
The quorum is 102. The quorum is 102. Now, 102 minus 143. We are short 80. Leaders of delegations in this room. Some delegations have no leader because the leader has left. The leader has left. You need to play a role. But be that as it may, we will present or will listen to the presentation of CAPA presentation. I don't know the chair of CAPA. He may want to also employ a strategy, which I'm likely to employ also when I do the activity report. I think members by now, they've read the CAPA report. It was, I think, distributed quite, not less than 3 hours ago, if not more. The same with the activity report. So in terms of reading, we are confident people have seen the reports. So when we present, we don't intend to go word by word, sentence by sentence. I think just a summary so that we give more time to discussion and see if there's any other business that we can conduct this afternoon. So the clerk will read the first order of the day.
Honorable President, the first order of the day is presentation and debate on the report of the Committee on Audit and Public Accounts to the 5th Ordinary Session of the 6th Parliament. The presenter is Honorable Miles Sampa, Chairperson of the Committee on Audit and Public Accounts.
I now invite Honorable Miles Sampa, Chairperson of the Committee on Audit and Public Accounts, to make his presentation.
Point of order, Mr. President.
You are welcome. Point of order.
Point of order.
You are welcome.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, the President. My name is Newton Samakai, Member of Parliament of PAP and Zambia. My point of order is pointing to harmony in PAP vis-a-vis as we conduct our business. Your Excellency, we have an established procedure for debate. People indicate to debate when they have seen the report or they have heard the report being delivered. And that is the time they indicate that they want to debate. I'm shocked to see that there are already people that are selected to debate on these motions. I, for one, wanted to debate. Where was this announcement made that those who want to debate must indicate before seeing the report?
Sorry, maybe
I haven't finished, Your Excellency.
Order. I don't know. I have no idea that there are some people that have been already identified to debate. I'm not. I have no idea. I don't know, because what I know is in this Parliament, when we give the program which says this report will come, there will be this report that will come on that day, people register. Other members then register even 3-4 days before in anticipation of that report. And then these are typed. And every day we've been reading a list of names that is typed. And some names are written 5 days before. And then there are those, right, for example, this is Kappa. I'm seeing Senator Mugatana, Professor Vangion, Gobotswana, Sibanze, right. It's typed, and we did this yesterday, we did this last week. That's the practice that you have registered, and then they type it under, I think, Wawa's office. And then when you come here, sometimes some honorable members then realize that, no, they also want to debate. Then they make written submissions. They just write and submit. But I'm not getting your point, because you're saying there are some people already selected, and I really, if such a meeting took place somewhere, I'm not aware. But I see some names here. And even yesterday on climate change, we had a similar thing. On any debate, we've had sheets like this that have names that have been printed, typed and printed. So I don't know. When I remember, get back the floor, maybe I want to clarify. Or the one in white, I'll come back to you. Let's give Honorable Samakai to conclude.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. What I have seen ever since I came here is that at least we are given a list to indicate whether we want to debate on a matter that is being delivered in front of us. It's only yesterday when I saw names of people that wanting to debate. But the issue is, I've been wondering, where was this announced? That those that want to report should now indicate, go to such an officer and indicate that you want to debate. I think that is what I want, some sort of transparency.
I think it's clear. Your concern is very clear. But it has been the practice of this Parliament. And if we want to change the practice, then fine, we can agree and that we change the practice. The practice of this Parliament for years now, more than 15 years, when you enter into the chamber, there are some documents there, or through the ushers. If you have an interest on any topic that is on the program of the TWIC program, you get that form, you register in your long hand. And then the administration collect and compile a list of speakers before that topic is presented. As I say, this will be typed. Then there are those who realize a bit late that they did not register to debate, but they are in the chamber. Then they request for further forms from the ushers. And then they just write and say, I'm from this country. And we still consider them, consider the expression of interest. So there's nothing new about a person registering even 5 days before in anticipation of a report that they want to debate on. So there's nothing to me that would require a different approach. But if you have a superior approach to this one, you are welcome. It can be considered.
Much obliged, Your Excellency.
Thank you. I see interest to contribute.
Mr. President, thank you. Mr. President, I believe, with your leave, let me refer the House to Rule 41 of our Rules of Procedure. And Mr. President, with your leave, may I read? The names of members who wish to speak shall be entered on the list of speakers in the order which their requests are received. So this is the rule governing the matter in issue. But the issue which is germane, the honorable member from Zambia is raising, is that it appears that this procedure is being abused. That people come in, register, and then at the time when the motion or the report is taken, they have taken the place of members who are desirous of debating, and yet they are not in the chamber. So if I heard him correctly, he thinks that we should amend the procedure, and even though we should implement Rule 41, it should be at the time when the report is about to be taken. Then names of members who want to comment can be taken. Then the order in which members will file their names, they can be called to comment on the debate as the floor is engaged. But when members are permitted for days on end to file their names, and then when the report is taken, they are not on the floor, then they deprive other members who are desirous
Point of order.
Of participating
Point of order.
in that procedure.
Let him finish. Let him finish.
So I'm drawing attention to the fact that the procedure that the honorable member refers to is already covered by Rule 41. But at the time that report is being taken, a lot of the members who have filed their names are not in the chamber. And those who are desirous to comment will now fall far back in the scale of preference. So if we can look at it, I believe we can make progress. I thank you for the opportunity.
Honorable Tony.
Thank you, Excellency. I think you've ruled on this matter accordingly, President. Since 3 weeks ago, we've been using the same route, and no one is excluded from requesting for a paper to register for debate. I feel sorry for the chairperson, a very, very important chairperson of an important committee. He's been standing there for almost 10 minutes now. And this issue should have been raised last week. Let's just allow Honorable Sampa to proceed with the debate. We don't have time. Thank you, the President.
Thank you. I think this matter is closed, but as I close, I want to read again Rule 41, which says a list of members wishing to speak in a debate. The names of members who wish to speak shall be entered on the list of speakers in their order in which their requests are received. So this will close the matter. So the issue of having a list is not foreign to this chamber. Honorable Sampa, proceed.
Thank you, Your Excellency, President Chief Charumbira.
and the Vice President and the members of the Bureau present and all members present. The report of the Committee on Audit and Public Accounts to the 5th Ordinary Session of the 6th Parliament today. I must state from onset, Mr. President, that this report was supposed to come yesterday, but it's come today all in the spirit of getting a consensus of all members of the committee. So this is not a Mal-Sampa report, it's a report from all the CAPA members, and there's a representative from each caucus of CAPA. The background: the Committee on Audit and Public Accounts, CAPA, is pleased to present its report to the 5th Ordinary Session of the 6th Parliament of PAP. This report results from the sittings of CAPA conducted between September 2023 and July 2025. So we're presenting it for the last, it represents events of the last 3 years. As guided by the President, I will not go to say what CAPA is. Everybody knows what CAPA is. So I'll go to page 3 and pinpoint on item 2. Working and training visit of the CAPA African Union headquarters. So to just show you what were some of our pertinent activities in the last 3 years. 1, the CAPA of PAP and the PRC Subcommittee on Audit Matters, AUC, held a joint meeting on 18th September 2023 to explore and define an effective collaboration framework between the two institutions. 3, an outcome of the training visit, CAPA members were prompted to reflect on the potential expansion of CAPA responsibilities through the establishment of terms of reference and a charter. These have been produced as separate documents to be presented to plenary for debate and adoption, either in this session or in the next session. I go to 3, benchmark visit to the East African Legislative Assembly on the 28th and 29th of October 2024. I'll read 1. Following a benchmark visit by CAPA to the East African Legislative Assembly, EALA, on 28th and 29th of October 2024, significant insights were gained to address structural concerns raised in audit reports since CAPA establishment in 2015. The next page, EALA 5. EALA is the legislative arm of East Africa and tasked with supporting regional integration. So we had an activity with them. I will proceed to page 5 or item 4B, summary of critical audit findings. 4B, summary of critical audit finding. All said and done, what has CAPA found in the last 3 years? Some of these audit issues were recurring in the audit reports of different years. 4.1, weaknesses noted on the review of PAP strategy plan. Areas of deficiency in the strategic plan of 2019 to 2023 are: A, performance indicators not in line with the SMART criteria. Indicators and targets in relation to strategic objectives were not well defined and were not specific, measurable, and time-bound. B, ineffective monitoring of performance of strategic output and outcomes. We noted that PAP only monitors the implementation of activities which result in achievement of the outputs, while the outcomes are not recorded and reported. C, non-implementation of risk management policy and disaster recovery business continuity plans. We, the CAPA, observed that PAP does not have a risk management system and register. It also does not have a disaster recovery and business community plan. The essence of the business recovery plan is to safeguard the activities of the Parliament and mitigate the disruption of its activities in the occurrence of unseen events. CAPA recommends, 1, PAP management should prepare performance reports in line with RPG3 reporting service performance information to enable stakeholders to assess its service efficiency and effectiveness. This is important because PAP relies on public funding to carry out its mandates. Recommendation 2 on page 5, those in the English version, ensure the strategic plan for 2024 to 2028 include monitoring and evaluation of strategic outcomes by including the key performance indicators. 4, PAP Bureau should operationalize the AU risk management policy and framework and maintain a risk register. 5, the disaster recovery and business continuity plan should be separately designed or included within the risk management framework. We now go to 4.2 on staffing, a major issue at PAP, staffing issues. A, inadequate staffing. Item 1, page 6 in English version. As of the date of this report, 25 out of 74 staffing positions approved for the PAP in 2012 remained vacant, a significant increase from 5 vacancies in 2016. These include the position of Deputy Clerk, Finance, Admin and HR, DCFR, and all 4 divisional heads. 2, furthermore, the current structure appears to be very inadequate for the scope and volume of PAP. B, deficiency in the recruitment of support staff. We, the CAPA committee, noted that PAP employs both local and international staff to assist during plenary sessions of March, May, August, and October without clear guidelines for the recruitment of support staff and a detailed need assessment for support staff. We therefore recommend, 1, all existing vacant positions should be filled promptly and the structure of PAP should be reviewed. 2, recruitment of non-specialized international support staff should be made from the host country unless it becomes practically impossible. 3, proper assessment of staff needs to be filled through the recruitment of support staff should be carried out. 4, the Bureau should establish administrative guidelines on recruitment of temporal support staff to guide the current process. I repeat, 2, recruitment of non-specialized international support staff should be made from the host country unless it becomes practically impossible. Item 4.3, failure to claim value-added tax refund. The CAPA observed that PAP had an unclaimed VAT refund from 2014, and the table will show there that to date there is outstanding amount of $592,724 Item 2, PAP failed to file VAT returns with SARS, South Africa Revenue Company, from 2014 to date due to the backlog of the e-filing portal. Consequently, PAP was required to re-register by presenting the details of a staff with a South African ID to act as its representative for the purposes of claiming VAT refund. The summary there is no refund has been obtained from the South African government for the last 4 to 5 years. Item 3, early 2024, the PRC, the Permanent Representative Committee of the AU, directed that the Office of Internal Auditors verifies the amount of the VAT that has become uncollectible as at 30th April 2023. This was done and the amount of $368,959
represent the uncollected VAT from 2014 to 2018 was reported for a write-off have become above 5 years. So any VAT not claimed above 5 years, it's written off according to the South African rule or law. CAPA recommends the Bureau should employ diplomatic means to negotiate with the South African government to ensure all outstanding VAT are refunded, irrespective of the state statute limitation of 5 years. I go on page 7 of the English version on item 4.4, carrying of large sums of cash by PAP personnel. It was observed that the finance officers routinely travel with large amount of cash for payments to service providers and other financial transactions on behalf of the Parliament, contrary to Rule 64 of the AU Revised Financial Rules of 2021. We, the CAPA, recommend, as required by Rule 60/4, PAP management should desist from authorizing the carrying and/or handling of large sums of cash. Where it is necessary to carry or handle large sums of cash on travel and missions, PAP management should use electronic transfers or make effective use of the union's representational liaison officers to carry out payments. Item 4.5, PAP mandate. A status of ratification of PAP protocol. In the effort to evolve into an institution with full legislative powers in accordance with Article 17 of the Constitutive Act of the African Union, PAP has developed a new protocol which was adopted in 2014 by the Assembly. To date, only 15 ratification and 23 signatures of the required 28 have been achieved. Recommendation by the CAPA Committee. 1. The Bureau and all MPs should be actively involved in advocacy to ensure all member states ratify the 2014 Malabo Protocol. Item 4.6, assessment of the fulfillment of PAP mandate. Item 4.6.1, PAP annual activity report to the Assembly. The President has been presenting annual PAP activity report to the plenary for debate and approval before presenting to the Assembly, as provided for in the rules of procedure. The activity report focuses on the input related to the functions of Parliament, such as participation in several international conferences, workshops. 2, conduct of election observer missions. 3, organizing the 4 annual parliamentary and committee sessions. However, the following areas of improvement were noted. 1, reporting on the output or impact outcome is limited. 2, the activity report do not indicate the number and details of parliamentary resolutions and recommendations passed by Parliament and what action should be taken by the Assembly. 3, reports do not include specific reference to follow-ups on the implementation of decisions of the Bureau and the Parliament. CAPA recommends 2 items. 1, the President's activity report should include output and impact and should be aligned with the strategic and annual work plans. 2, PAP activity reports should state the destination of all PAP resolutions and how they are monitored for implementation. Item 4.9, very important as well. 9, provision of a permanent custom-built structure for PAP and 9, renewal of expiry annexure AB to the host agreement. I'll straight away just go to our recommendation. This matter is known. This building, there was supposed to be a permanent building for PAP and also the renewal of the host agreement. Included in the host agreement entered on September 2004 between the AU and South Africa were annexes A and B, in which were listed the commitment of the host government to provide and maintain a permanent custom-built structure to host PAP, motor vehicles for members of parliament, security, furniture, information technology infrastructure, office equipment, etc., at its own expense, at the expense of the South African government. A review of the agreement showed that the host agreement expired on December 31, 2009, and since then have not been renewed. Item 1, failure to renew the agreement may lead to PAP losing some benefits that should have been provided by the host country. 2, in the event of failure of the host country to renew the rent of office accommodation temporarily occupied by PAP here where we are, the operations of PAP will be seriously affected. We, the CAPA Committee, recommend, therefore, item 1, the Bureau should interact with the South African government to ensure the host country agreement is renewed and signed appropriately. 2, the Bureau should also engage the AUC through the PRC and Executive Council to ensure the host country agreement is renewed and signed appropriately. Item 4.11 to do with staff, payment of salary to a staff study leave without pay. We noted that a staff member who was attending a self-sponsored study from September 2022 was receiving a salary during his absence. This matter was referred to the PAP legal counsel, who advised that the staff member only qualified to apply for study leave without pay. Payment of salaries to the staff member on leave without pay occurred during the delay in decision-making by PAP management in ceasing salary payment to staff immediately after he went on study leave. We, the CAPA Committee, therefore recommend that PAP should recover the overpaid salary, which amounts to $29,450 and 41 cents, after exhausting all the outstanding accrued leave of the staff member. Item 4.12, expenditure in excess of approved budget for committee sittings and plenary. The revised AU financial rules, rule number 12E, provides that all expenditure must be authorized. In 2023, the approved budget for committee meetings and plenary session was $1.4 million, but the PAP spent $2.247 million, representing 61% unauthorized expenditure. This level of expenditure, including the unauthorized amount of $847,140 was attained by the mid-year of 2023. This is all the amount budgeted for the two of the committee sittings and plenary session was fully spent during the committee sitting in March and plenary session in May 2023. The consequences of these actions were: 1, overspending of budget constitutes a violation of the AU rules. Overspending of the budget constitutes a violation of the AU rules, financial rules. 2, the PAP could not hold its committee sitting and plenary session in August and October, respectively. We, the CAPA, recommends, therefore, item 1, PAP management should avoid unauthorized budget overrun, as this would impact negatively on its reputation as well as future budget allocation. There's a table there that details, but the summary of it is just that from 2018 to 2023, the budget of the AU to PAP has significantly reduced by 20%. In 2018, we had 20 million, and 2023, 11 million. And, the table also shows that our expenditure as a parliament has remained constant, while the budget has been reducing significantly. I'll jump to item B in the interest of time, inability of PAP to fulfill certain required conditions. This includes failure to fully utilize all the amounts approved in the previous year, including, page 11, even though the PAP has not been fully utilizing the overall amount approved in the respective years, it did have some budget lines that were fully utilized. The challenge is with the budget lines that were either not utilized or inadequately utilized. Item 2, failure to substantially implement audit recommendations. The Executive Council, with that decision nomenclature on page 11 of the 31st ordinary session of the Executive Council dated 27 June to 1st July 2017 in Addis Ababa states, B, the implementation of matrix audit recommendation. You can read that, but we, the CAPA, are recommending item 1, Bureau and management should improve on the implementation of audit recommendations. 2, in adjusting the budget proposal presented by PAP, the policy organ needs to consider the adverse implementation of the underfunding of the parliamentary activities. 3, PAP management should always be given the opportunity to justify its budget. Item 5, proposed resolutions. The CAPA resolves as follows. Item 5.1, performance. The Bureau and management of PAP should ensure that 1, performance indicators meet the SMART criterion. 2, the performance of the strategic plan is monitored so that activities, outputs, outcome achieved are properly measured and reported. Item 3, risk management system and the disaster recovery and business continuity plans are established and effectively maintained. Staffing 5.2, the Bureau should, 1, ensure that the vacant positions are promptly filled. 2, design and approve guidelines for the recruitment of support staff in line with the AU rules. 5.2 on VAT, value-added tax, the CAPA calls on the Bureau to employ diplomatic means to negotiate with the SA government to ensure all outstanding VAT claims are refunded to the PAP. Item 5.3, PAP mandate, we, the CAPA, advise that 1, all members of PAP should, together with the Bureau, be actively involved in advocacy to ensure all members states ratify the PAP Malabo Protocol. Item 4, the activity report represented by the President of the Bureau to the AU Assembly and the PAP. Plenary should be comprehensive, covering the following areas. Report on activities, outputs, and outcome inputs. 2, show plenary resolutions and the status of implementation of previous resolution. Make reference to the alignment of the annual and strategic work plans and performance of the PAP with the AU agenda. Item 5, 6, Bureau should engage the South African government and the AU Executive Council to ensure that the host agreement is updated and signed, and the South African government keeps its promise to build a permanent structure to accommodate the PAP. I've told myself not to add my own words, so I would have had a lot to say about that. That this building sometimes has no water, and it can only be that we really need a building as was enshrined in the original agreement. Item 5.4, administrative matters. The CAPA calls on the Bureau, 1, to ensure that it keeps expenditure within authorized budget. I'll repeat that. Item 5.4, administrative matters. The Committee on Audit and Public Accounts calls on the Bureau of PAP to ensure that it keeps expenditure within authorized budgets or expenditure. Conclusion, honorable members. Item 6, CAPA is committed to providing variable contribution to the PAP and its oversight functions by applying the knowledge and experience of its members to improve and facilitate the governance, risk, and control processes within the PAP and other organs of the AU. Honorable members, our role is to build, as CAP, our role is to build PAP, build the Bureau, build members, build staff, and build the institution by ensuring that all activities stick to rules and guidelines as enshrined by ourselves and the AU. I would like to conclude this presentation by requesting the plenary to adopt the report with the recommendations and resolutions as proposed. I sincerely thank you. Yours truly, with love and Ubuntu. Thank you.
Another louder approach. Yeah, with your permission, in order also to save time, let us have the activity report of the Bureau, and then we move to debate the two reports jointly. That to be much faster and save time. As a result, I'll leave this chair. The first Vice President will then chair the next part.
Madame la secrétaire générale, veuillez nous faire suite du programme, s'il vous plaît.
Honorable Vice President, the next order of business is the activity report of the President of the Pan-African Parliament, His Excellency Chief Fortune Zephaniah Charumbira.
Merci, Madame Laissé.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Now I'd like to invite the Honorable President, Chief Fortune Charumbira, President of the Pan-African Parliament, for his presentation. Mr. President, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam President. In my world of parliamentary affairs, when one sits in that chair, is addressed as president, not as vice president. So I say, Madam President, I present this report representing the Bureau of Pan-African Parliament on the performance of this parliament. I want to say it used to be called, oh, there's a lot of noise. Madam President, I think I need some protection because there's a bit of noise that side. A lot of laughing before I even deliver the good report. People are always, they are already so happy with my report before I even mention what is there. Thank you.
Honorable MP, please, can you patiently follow the presentation of our president? Thank you.
I will also try, like Honorable Sampa did, not to bore you with too much detail, but just to remind the honorable members that we as a parliament have said we want to be a performance-oriented parliament. And I present this report in that spirit, that results-based, not result-based, but results-based and focused parliament, so that we have a mindset not only on what we did, but what we actually influenced and made an impact on. And we then say in performance management, it's not what you do, it's what gets done. That is important. I will not go back to the protocol, rules, and functions of this parliament. But ultimately, we are a parliament that should be focused on all the moonshots of the African Union, which are 7, as mentioned yesterday by the Finance Committee. Although the AU has said no, PAP, you only look at moonshot 2, which again is a misunderstanding of the role of this parliament. We are an advisory and consultative parliament which does not make laws, but we do make model laws, or we pass model laws which are not immediately enforceable on the member states, but we have 100% mandate on representing the citizens of this country. That one has no limitation. We have no limitation on oversighting, but I should say there's a lot of resistance in the AU to see PAP performing and oversighting what the AU does. We need to oversight, of course, the Agenda 2063. It's our responsibility, and other organs' activities. We are fighting, and let's fight together in that direction. We have held a number of workshops, but workshops are not the end unto themselves. It is how, to the extent to which they influence and make an impact on the lives of the people of this continent. But I want to say the committees, Committee of Justice and Human Rights, Gender, Family, Youth, and people with disabilities, and rural economy, agriculture, natural resources, and environment, have made some very good outputs, and we want to commend them. I won't go back into details because the rest I duplicate what they've already presented. We have attended election observer missions in member states with the view of this parliament assessing the extent to which democracy has been deepened on this continent. One of their functions in terms of the protocol, it says we should promote democracy, human rights, democracy, and deepen democracy, including institutions of democracy. And the one way we've done that is to observe, to be members of AU election observer missions. But I want to say, unfortunately, we don't do independent election observer missions up to now. We are still fighting for that. And before we get autonomy on this, we are an appendage to the AU, African Union Observer Mission. Unlike the European Parliament, the European Parliament observes elections as a parliament. We do not, mainly because we don't even have a budget for that. So we depend on the Peace and Security, Politics, Peace and Security Commission of the AU to observe these elections. And I want to say, one, we have the problem of numbers. Like now, Seychelles elections next month, or in September. We are told 2 people, 2 MPs from PAP as members of that mission. Probably out of 30, 2 from PAP. Very controversial issue, very, very controversial, because the parliament is the bastion of democracy. We are the ones that should be taking a lead in election observations. And also, we know the complaints, and we've received complaints. Members who participate in these election observer missions are not accorded their real status and dignity by very junior staff in the African Union. Very junior staff in the African Union. And this should be corrected. We've done a lot in issues of parliamentary diplomacy and representation of the PAP at various fora, so that we raise the PAP flag. Your president attended the inauguration of the president of Ghana, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. John Dramani Mahama is a former member of Pan-African Parliament, who is now the president of Ghana. He sat in this chamber with, just like we are seated here. And then he became a vice president of Ghana. He became a president. He lost and re-elected back. But just to remind members also how this chamber, how important this chamber is in the quality and the substance of the MPs in this chamber. You may not know that you are actually of the highest substance of parliamentarians. Because other than John Mahama of Ghana, the current president of Seychelles was a member of this parliament. The late president of Namibia, Dr. Hage, was a member of this parliament at one time. The president of Mali, the one who was removed in a coup, what's his name? Mali. No, Mali, that's in Niger. Mali. Mali president who was removed by soldiers, what was his name? Sorry? Keita. President Keita of Mali was a member of the Cooperation Committee in this parliament. And President Bazoum of Niger, who was removed also recently in a coup, President Bazoum used to sit that side there. He would stand up there and really speak. So I'm saying we are proud that we have such people in offices, highest offices, and from PAP. We have been honored by many expressions of interest and confidence in this parliament. The Parliament of Benin invited the President of Pan-African Parliament to be the guest of honor at their official opening of their parliament. And they paid for everything, ticket, hotel, and everything. It's an expression of confidence in this parliament. I won't go through everything. There are several things that we can talk about, and a number of advocacy meetings. But I want to say, because of lack of money or budget in PAP, I, as president, have taken more than 50% of my work have not been paid by PAP. So most times it's my parliament, Zimbabwe parliament has had to pay for my tickets and hotel, because if we don't do that, we may not be known at all. Women, I think we need to look at this one. We as PAP attend the CSW meeting or conference in New York. And our women group, this time they were led by the first and third vice presidents, Dr. Abibu and Dr. Lucia, respectively. We celebrate that we as PAP, we are part of this as we move the agenda for women forward. But I want to say, I think they will need to sit down in the future so that we have less complaints. Because we have so many complaints about these meetings. It was a great honor to PAP, and a major achievement that we received ambassadors, 19 of them. 19 ambassadors came to Pan-African Parliament, and they were in this chamber to engage with Pan-African Parliament on how we can collaborate, how we can work together with the Peace and Security Council to resolve conflicts on this continent. There are very reasonable recommendations and resolutions on how we are going to work as with the ambassadors, Peace and Security Council, and the Pan-African Parliament, so that Parliament is not the issue of conflict on this continent. How the Parliament and the AU and the Commission and the Business Council, we can now work together. In fact, we're going for 11 years. In terms of the protocol of the Peace and Security Council, they are enjoined to work with Pan-African Parliament on peace and security issues. And we read the articles, very clear. The articles say Peace and Security Council work with PAP. For 11 years, that was not happening. But now we've agreed that we should work together. And then I'm just trying to pick so that I don't have to take everything. We've attended several, participated in several gatherings. The one on malaria in Africa, illicit financial flows, African Dialogue Series, engagement with youth leaders. We have done that through committees, of course. And I do not need to go through what committees have presented or already shared with us. The issue of induction workshop for financial oversight. The issue of bilateral consultations with Ethiopia. Technical capacity building for staff at PAP. Advocacy of democracy, dialogue. And then our Committee on Rules has met so far, I think, twice or more to look at our rules of procedure, and if where we need improvement, we improve. The Legal Council has proposed 120 amendments proposed, but they are proposals. It's us who ultimately, through the Rules Committee, will say this is acceptable, this is not acceptable, but that is to defect to the internal rules, not the protocol, but these are internal rules of procedure. We are in the process. The Rules Committee is working on that. I know they haven't finished. They need probably a week or 2 weeks to be able to finish that. I did explain on the budget yesterday in very detail how the PAP budget currently is totally inadequate. Totally inadequate. And the delay from May to July of this year for this sitting was basically a result of lack of funding. The AU is undertaking reforms to reform the AU, and we are an organ of the AU. So we need to take interest in the reforms. They believe even, of course, PAP need to be reformed. The reforms are not yet agreed. There is still clear lack of understanding of a parliament in the work so far. Like I mentioned the other day, they think the current remuneration, total remuneration cost of staff per year of over 80 million, they believe that is too much compared to other organs. So why should PAP be getting such high budgets on staff? They have proposals. Most of them are not kind to any of the organs. And they even talk of cost sharing. Cost sharing, like in our case, here in Midrand or South Africa, you have APRM, African Peer Review Mechanism, AUDA NEPAD. And the others, then they say, let us share certain costs relating to staff. And I'm not giving the example that they will give, assuming we have a department for HR that serves both PAP and APRM. And they are trying to do it across all organs. And there is a lot of resistance across all the organs. And we agree that cannot work. We are pushing hard for the digitalization of this chamber. United Arab Emirates promised to do something about it. We have also put the money in the request, in our request to the AU that we get money to ensure that we digitalize. The issue of model laws, we have done several in this particular sitting. You are aware that we will be going, very soon we'll be doing recommendations and resolution on model laws. As PAP on model laws, we have indeed made several past, and we believe we have a unique strength in that area, and we'll soon be ensuring that member states, and that's actually where we should be going. Once we pass a model law, we should not keep quiet. The next stage is for us, for our members, the 5 members from each delegation, to go to their national parliaments and propose, move a motion on the model law that we passed at PAP, and make sure that their countries, the various countries, actually adopt those model laws. I think staff, the clerk, will soon be preparing some documentation for the members to go to take to their home parliaments and or national parliaments, and make sure that those are also presented at national level, and where possible, they do also include them in their own legal regime. Allowances for members of parliament. I've mentioned it before that there is now a decision. There are 3 things. One, the protocol, Article 10, says members of parliament of PAP should be paid allowances. And the other day when the the ambassador of Kenya, who is chair of the budget committee at the PRC, when he presented, I think there are quite some robust questions from this chamber about why PAP members are not being given or receiving their monies. This morning, this morning around 8:30, we received a call from the AU, the same person, the Ambassador George, requesting that we submit our proposed levels of allowances for PAP members. Today, yeah, some of you don't want the money, I can see. They requested that we submit the levels. If we say we want allowances, what is the allowance or sitting allowance per day? I've actually asked Mr. Morad in my office to engage with the MPs who are around, because we want to do a comparative analysis with parliaments, national, so that some of you can please share information with the clerk, Marimo Morad. Just tell him that, look, in my parliament, when we sit, we get so much per sitting. It's because we want to use that information also to argue our case. So we hope that they are now serious, having asked about the levels. We continue to perform despite the lack of budget. I will not speak to at this stage to the issue of the statutory meetings budget of 265 for committees and 450 for the plenary, which is sadly very low. We have been given, as you are all aware, we have lobbied. We did presentations to the ambassadors, who are the authorities on budget, about the inadequacy of the budget of PAP. For us, even to meeting of committees or plenary. They listened and gave us 650,000, which unlocked the whole budgetary issue that we come and meet as we have done. I have explained previously that in terms of the protocol, we don't sit in May or in April for the plenary. We are allowed 2 plenary sittings in a year. It's for us to choose which months we want to sit. But for this year, we had to ensure that we get the necessary financing and then necessary timing. And I think here we are. We have met successfully. We've held our session successfully. And we're coming back towards the end of September. We are coming back to committee session towards the end of September. Last week of September, if you want to plan, we are looking at the last week of September towards very end. And then we come back for the other session very late October, but mainly beginning in November, maybe first 2 weeks of November, we should be back here to transact business. I don't want to waste time on something that has been touched on recruitment. I did explain yesterday that the recruitment has been frozen in the AU. So we are facing a serious problem with respect to recruitment. We have, I don't know, 24, 25 positions that are vacant, but unable to recruit. And indeed, it is undermining our operations in a very serious way. Malabo Protocol remains a problem. Member states are not ratifying the Malabo Protocol. We still need about 16 countries to ratify the Malabo Protocol so that it can become effective. When you look at the way things are going, we really doubt if Felix Uganda is with us. But the Malabo Protocol needs to be ratified. Then it will unlock 1 or 2 things. But the member states seem to be very reluctant. And I think the end of it all may be a real problem. However, I want to salute all of you for being here in this room, and that I want to salute you for being in this room. You are genuine leaders of Africa, elected to serve. I've tried only to be very brief. I didn't want to go into the details of health. We achieved this, agriculture, climate change. When Honorable Sakata has had 3 presentations already on the same topic. So I was doing it at a high level. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Merci, Honorable President.
Thank you, Honorable President, and thank you for being brave, because I know this is a very pertinent topic, and I know we could have spent a lot more time to discuss this. We regret the fact, however, that a number of seats are empty and that these 2 presentations have touched on very important topics which are relevant for the conduct of activities in the Parliament. It is sad that we do not have a number of parliamentarians here present. This would have been an ideal opportunity for everybody to raise their questions and have answers from the horse's mouth. But
Maintenant, je vais ouvrir le débat.
I'm, however, going to open the floor for debates, and I have a proposal to make so that the president doesn't drag too long. We would give him the floor first to answer the questions which are related to his presentation so that he can come back to his seat as the president of PAP. The president generally doesn't like people to sit in his place for too long. Thank you.
Donc j'ai plusieurs listes. Donc
I have several lists. We have about 30 people who have sought to take the floor. I wouldn't ask you not to put your relevant questions out to the president, but I would encourage you to avoid repetitions. The first speaker is Honorable Dr. Gobosman from Botswana.
Thank you, Vice President. And President, I recognize you. And please allow me to stand on the protocol established. I wish to say first that to me, there are 3 important reports for PAP. Number 1 is what I would call the State of the Continent address by the President, which is what I guess is what we're receiving today. I assume that's what it is. Second is the CAPA report. The third one is the finance and maritime. To me, these are very, very critical reports for this meeting, and they should have been presented the first week, whilst we were still fresh, whilst everybody was here. So like the Vice President just said, the chairs are empty, and we are receiving the most important report at the very last hour. Can we be serious in this parliament? Really? But I just want to make, to address one point, and I want to structure it in the form of questions in the end. And that is the unconstitutional extension of term limit of the Bureau, which is a potential source of instability and constant bickering. In terms of the way I structured in terms of questions, I want to put the following questions. In the spirit of rotation, the term of office of the current Bureau ended maybe, let's say, June 2025. Why were PAP elections not held in June 2025? As expected, in accordance with PAP rules and within the geographical allotments. For example, the next in the office of PAP president should be the Northern Caucasus, then the Eastern, Western, Central, and back to Southern Africa in that order for the next 3 years terms from June 2025 as far as I'm concerned. When the term of office was extended, that is another question. Were the affected Caucasus consulted? If not, why? When the current Bureau was extended for 7 months, did the decision consider the AU Constitutive Act, the PAP Protocol, and the rules of procedure? Under these circumstances, do we believe PAP has the moral authority to advocate against unconstitutional change of governments and manipulation of the rules to extend term limits by some African countries? Do we really have the moral authority to do that as PAP, given our conduct? The final question is, what is the Bureau doing to remedy the situation to normalize and stabilize PAP.
Point of order, Mr.
I thank you, Mr. President.
Point of order.
Oui, qui demande la motion
Yes,
d'ordre.
Your Excellency the President, I am seated here wondering where that contribution on the extension of term limit falls within the two reports, Madam Speaker. I think if there are people who want to destabilize, it is the previous speaker who is bringing that issue of destabilization. On which agenda is he standing? Why can't we just focus on what we are discussing in this report? Madam President, let us be relevant to what is before us. Let us stick to the agenda. If someone wants to discuss the issue of term limits, if someone wants to discuss how we are constituted, there is a procedure. We are discussing the audit report and the report of the performance by the President. Can we stick to that? I thank you, Mr. President.
Honorable, c'est bien non.
That is well noted. Thank you. However, I think we are all here and are compelled to comply with the agenda for our discussions today. If we are still here at this hour of the day, it refers to the fact that we have keen interest in all that pertains to PAP. So I would like us all to remain focused on the presentations we have listened to. Thank you. Second speaker would be Honorable Kabala, I think is absent. Honorable Amina Ali Idris from Chad.
Merci, Madame la Présidente, pour la...
Thank you very much, Madam Vice President, for giving me the floor. I thank the President for his presentation. The presentation of this performance review report of the PAP. This is a self-assessment exercise, which is, I would say, salvatory, but it also comes in to strengthen our efficiency and credibility as a parliamentary organ of the African Union. That notwithstanding, sir, you have presented your analysis and you pointed out a few challenges which need to be overcome. I would like to say there are equally some delays which have been noted as far as the implementation of resolutions and model laws is concerned. There is also low levels of involvement with African citizens. Some African citizens today still are ignorant of the existence of the Pan-African Parliament. You clearly said that you have made the image of the Pan-African Parliament more known at fora and international gatherings, far and near. But until now, the Pan-African Parliament is still unknown to many, and I would like you to be mindful of that fact. Every time we organize events within our national parliaments, it would be a good thing to probably chip in a word on the Pan-African Parliament for the sake of information. I would equally like to add a few remarks and observations. First and foremost, let us improve on our legislative efficiency by clarifying our legislative prerogatives and strengthening our capacity to influence policies on the African continent, especially on issues pertaining to Agenda 2063. Secondly, I would like to equally say that we should really follow up on resolutions which are adopted here at the PAP. We should engage in strict follow-up of these mechanisms. We should also set up a mechanism for the follow-up of recommendations arrived at the African Union within member states, I would like to say there should be more visibility and proximity and outreach activities for our citizens. As such, our activities should be made available to the African audience. The Pan-African Parliament should become an active institution for debates which would nurture the aspirations of the African people. Fourth point, we need more synergy with national parliaments. Our performances could be improved tremendously if we consolidate our relationships with national parliaments through coordination and harmonization platforms. Fifth point, institutional capacity. We should engage in obtaining our financial and administrative autonomy in view of better planning, executing, assessing our programs. Lastly, Mr. President, you highlighted the fact that we have some vacancies in the institution and we are unable to recruit so far. This point is really topical, and I think we need to engage in our financial and administrative autonomy to overcome such challenges. I would like to commend you for the transparency, sir, of such analysis. But when I look at our responsibilities and activities, we need to do better. Thank you. I give the floor to Honorable Senator Danson Mongatana from Kenya.
Chair, Madam President, I want to join my colleagues in acknowledging and congratulating His Excellency the President and His Excellency Chairman Honorable Miles Sampa for the great reports they have presented to us. The first thing I wanted to state is that audit reports are not a beautiful exercise. Most of the times, auditors are not liked by management, but they are the mirror, like the previous speaker has said, that help us to do self-assessment. So we should take them in the positive spirit that is required. In fact, when we are making presentations for funds for this organization, the audit queries is one of the issues that is raised, whether we have implemented the recommendations of audit that were carried out. The first thing I wanted to suggest as I make this point, we have been told that the host agreement lapsed 31st December 2009, if I captured that properly. So since 2009 to date, 225, if I captured the dates correctly, we are operating without a host agreement. I wanted to request the President. We have had here the Minister for Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation from South Africa. Also, our previous immediate leader of the South Africa, the Southern Caucus, and also the leader of the South African parliamentary delegation, the Honorable Pemi Majodina, was promoted from here into the cabinet of South Africa. So there's nothing like an excuse from our side to stop us getting a chance to meet the relevant authorities in South Africa so that we can get this agreement done. And I was going to propose to the President and the Bureau that they need to create a committee that will deal with this matter. If necessary, an ad hoc committee just to make sure that we negotiate this matter and get it done. Number two, and along the same we have not been able to get our refunds for the VAT. And they are hundreds of thousands of dollars. In fact, the initial figure was $592,724,000 US dollars. And then after they did the reconciliation, it came to something like 368,000. Now, Mr. President, I'm just wondering whether we don't want this money or what is the problem. Because the way the committee chairman has put it, it just requires for a person with South African identity card to go and help us to do the VAT claims. And because we cannot get somebody with a South African identity card, now we are at risk of losing the 5-year because of the laws here in South Africa. Sir President, the other day, I was just interested in joining a gym in South Africa, and I was told I must get somebody with an ID.
Honorable, veuillez question, s'il vous plaît.
Please allow me. And when I went to that gym, I was told we must get somebody with an ID and a number of South Africa. Because I wanted desperately to join, because I wanted, Mr. President, I got the same day a person with an ID and a number from South Africa, and I got registered. Now, so many years, over 5 years, how can PAP not want that money that badly? How can we fail to get somebody just to register and help us get these VAT returns? I think this is a very bad thing and a very bad. I wanted to also say, I went to the bank here in South Africa to ask for cash, and the amount of charges that they piled on me, it was so much in terms of just cutting because I wanted cash. I decided it's better to do electronic transfer. Now, here in PAP, all the
Honorable, vous devez conclure. Je suis désolé, sinon je vais prendre la...
Honorable, you need to conclude, please.
About the issue of cash. And the laws in South Africa are very penalizing about anybody who handles cash in South Africa. What is the difficulty, Bureau or Mr. President, of changing the system so that people can just use electronic transfer? It is unfair for us to say we don't have money and then 16% even is taken to the bank in South Africa just because we want cash. Why are we doing this? Why don't we feel the pain? Because if this money was ours, personal, it would not have been.
Honorable colleague, je pense que...
Honorable colleague, we need to stay until the end. But if we continue in this rhythm, there is a risk that we will spend the whole night here. So I'm going to give 2 minutes to each person who wishes to take the floor. The next speaker, Honorable Motsa from Eswatini. 2 minutes, please.
Apparemment, il n'est pas là.
Apparently, he is not in the chamber. Honorable Elizabeth Masuku, Zimbabwe.
Is in the chambers.
Prenez la parole, s'il vous plaît.
Take the floor, please.
Thank you, Madam President, for giving me the floor. Firstly, I'd like to commend the President and the Chairperson of CAPA for the 2 reports that were clear. Unfortunately, my concerns, the one on VAT and visibility of PAP, have been taken, so I will not repeat what was said. Thank you. I submit.
Merci, Honorable. Thank you very much, Honourable. That was sweet and short. Honourable Elizabeth Masuku from Zimbabwe, please. Elle n'est pas parmi nous. Not in the chamber, so I'll give the floor now to Honourable Shidziwa, Zimbabwe.
Thank you, President. Thank you for the opportunity to air my views on the performance review report. Our parliament is trying its best to push for the agenda of the PAP, and we are happy that under your stewardship and efforts and that of the MPs and staff, we have been able to keep the ship going. Our main objective being to secure a prosperous Africa, integrated Africa, peaceful and secure Africa, Africa with a strong cultural identity, and Africa with capable institutions. President, I wanted to hear where are we on our advocates' agenda to be a platform of influence in national parliaments. When I am speaking around this area, I wanted to see PAP presence in different member parliaments and we must be able to have reports from delegations leaders on those parliaments to see our influence in different member parliaments. We have different themes, President, each and every year. I also want to understand, like last time we have this education fit for the African child. Where are we? What did we win? What did we fail? What are the signposts? What is going to happen with that theme? So say that I wanted to see that when we have a theme.
Thank you, Honourable Member. You no longer have any time to speak. I'm very sorry. Thank you.
Allez-y, termine.
Go ahead. Go ahead, please continue, but only for 1 minute. Thank you.
I also wanted to ask around the issue of PAP financing, which has remained a challenge. I thought as PAP must have now signposts to say we are solving this challenge, and these are the steps that we are using. We are now here, and we will be there until we complete. Then the issue of strengthening our monitoring and evaluation army to track progress and make adjustment where needed. Thank you.
Merci, Honorable. Thank you very much. The floor now goes to Honorable Fagnon from Benin. Thank you very much, Madam Vice President. I should like to congratulate the presenter on the quality of the report that has reached a consensus. In item 5.4, I would like the report to say that we need to have an official decision for extra funding. And we have also spoken about future budgets from 2026. The payment that we have to pay for our stay here in compliance with the Rule 10 of the protocol and Rule 10.6 of the Rules of Procedure. I would like to encourage the Bureau to activate parliamentary advocacy to recover the VAT refunds and also for PAP to be exonerated from VAT. Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Mariam Sonia, Zambia.
Elle n'est pas parmi nous.
She is not in the chamber, so I will give the floor to Honorable Senator Alphonse Kasonji, Democratic Republic of Congo. Not in the chamber, it seems. The floor now goes to Honorable Senator Koudia Kouakou, Côte d'Ivoire. Thank you very much, Madam Vice President. Madam Vice President, as my predecessors have said, I should like to congratulate and thank the two presenters. Let me begin with the presentation of Honorable Miles Sampa, Chairperson of CAPA. I understand that it would have been very difficult for him to be part of that committee for many years, because we always seem to go back to the same points. The audit items are important in order to negotiate further funding. And when audit issues are not resolved, and for the last 10 years we have had the same questions. We can't continue to receive funding with such an attitude. I should like to invite the Bureau to take the necessary measures so that all audit matters can be resolved. We cannot continue speaking about a VAT, host agreement, etc. We need to make sure that these questions are answered and resolved. As far as the performance review is concerned, as far as Côte d'Ivoire is concerned, when we arrived, the team of Côte d'Ivoire and the ambassador was in contact with the ambassador in Addis Ababa. They are very satisfied with the work done by the President of the Pan-African Parliament, and they are doing everything possible so that PAP is able to receive necessary funding. I wanted to reassure you, Madam Vice President, that we are the defenders most committed to defending PAP. It's true, not everything is perfect. This is for the President, but if he hadn't been here in the last few years, PAP would have closed down. I should like to congratulate him and thank him for that. Thank you.
فاتح بطبيق دقيقة.
شكرا. Thank you, Madam President. For me too, I would like to stand on the protocol by attending this session. I'm really satisfied with all the questions and the presentation of the report of the President, as well as the other committees, particularly the CAPA and the audit report. This is a good transparency process that we should be followed. So thank you, Mr. President Sharon Mbira and your team for this excellent work. This is one of the objectives that we want to attain, all of us. And I'm really feeling pity that many of the MPs are not here while we are discussing such vital matters here. This is about the image of the Parliament. Another area is that we should be to abide by objectivity when we are speaking in the reports of the Pan-African Parliament. That despite the lack of the financial resources, we have to consider that during the 17 years of the Pan-African Parliament, performance was not bad. The Parliament managed to convene all its sessions as prescribed and managed to maintain all its activities of the committees and the other sessions. And therefore, I consider the assessment is to be fair when we are looking at what we have achieved. It is there are so many good objectives that have been attained. The others that we are looking for are long-term objectives, which will become on time. And within the objectives of the African Union definitely will attain them. Let us be serious to change the reality of the Pan-African Parliament through objective processes. So I also have another question. The question is that about just 1 minute. I gave you additional minute, and he's saying why some high staff, high-level staff are not attending, or no, I mean that some staff are not in the structure of the Pan-African Parliament, and definitely this should be taken into consideration when we are assessing the performance of the Pan-African Parliament. Thank you. Let me give the floor now to Honorable Lamine Faye from Senegal.
MP Lamine Faye from Senegal, please.
Thank you, President. That was yesterday. Thank you.
Merci.
Thank you. The floor goes to Honorable Fama Ba from Senegal.
President, merci beaucoup. Je passe.
Thank you very much. I don't have anything more to say. Thank you.
L'honorable
Honorable Jennifer V. Barbara, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing, Rwanda. In the chamber, it seems. The floor goes to Honorable Senator Kamar from Kenya.
2 minutes, please.
Thank you, Madam President. I will not even take 2 minutes because the Honorable Mugatana has spoken on one of the areas, the only area I wanted to talk about, and that is the host agreement. First, I thank the President and the Honorable Samba for very good reports. When it comes to the host agreement, I am very surprised that we are staying without a host agreement. We cannot be in a host country without an agreement. That, I believe, is an error that needs to be corrected urgently. The second one is that a host agreement has even privileges for members of parliament. I do know, because I was in the East African Legislative Assembly, that the host agreement from Tanzania to the other members meant that we even owned diplomatic cars, diplomatic Tanzanian cars, and we had privileges that could not be removed from members of parliament. I want to suggest that as the President goes ahead to have a select committee to look at the host agreement, that we compare it with what ECOWAS has, what SADC has, and what EAC has, so that we come up with an host agreement, because this is now an opportunity that will change things for us forever. So let's look at all those and come up with a host agreement that is very agreeable. Thank you, Madam Chair, Madam President.
Thank you very much. La parole est...
The floor goes to Honorable Mabua Ketlo from Lesotho. I'm sorry if I have mispronounced your name.
Honorable Madam President, I would like to start by acknowledging the Honorable President's effort in steering the PAP towards a more results-oriented approach, as emphasized in the previous report. Honorable President, your leadership and vision for the PAP are commendable, and I appreciate the strides made in promoting our objectives. However, Honorable President, I would like to bring to the forefront the critical challenge of funding that hinders our ability to effectively implement our objectives. The PAP is currently facing a significant challenges with key vacant positions that remain unfilled due to lack of funds. Given these challenges, I would like to ask the Honorable President what strategies are being employed to address these funding challenges and ensure that we can recruit and retain competent staff as well as fulfill our statutory obligations to our honorable members. I urge the Bureau of PAP to prioritize finding solutions to these funding challenges so that we can move forward with implementing our objectives and achieving our vision of a prosperous and united Africa. In conclusion, Honorable President, I believe that this debate has highlighted the critical challenges facing the PAP, particularly with regards to funding. While we acknowledge the importance of results-based management, it's equally important that we address the fundamental challenges that hinder our ability to operate effectively. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable. La parole est à l'Honorable
Honorable Tafanana Zimbabwe.
Elle n'est pas là.
Not in the chamber. The floor goes to Honorable Senator Tony from Eswatini.
President, thank you for giving me the floor. I'll be very quick and brief. Mr. President, thank you for your wonderful presentation. And it shows the unity and the progress within the Bureau. With such a report, if the Bureau was divided, we'll not be having such a report. Congratulations on that. I've got 3 issues on the performance report. The first one, President, we really need to emphasize on oversighting the budget of the African Union. And we need to reclaim our power as a parliament in that regard, a power that we had and we don't know who took it back to the African Union. So we need to make sure that we reclaim that. On the issue of staffing, we know that PAP wants to recruit. PAP wants to recruit, and in the budget for salaries for staff are there, but the African Union is refusing that PAP recruits. So in the meanwhile, maybe we should consider secondment of staff from other parliaments of other countries to come and assist in the Pan-African Parliament, whilst we're waiting for the AU to decide. Number 3, MP our allowances, and we appreciate the correspondence by the chairperson of the PRC to relook into this matter, and I suggest that maybe the heads of delegations, they actually send that information. Because I still have another minute, President, may I just move on to Kappa? So that I sit once. Congratulations, my brother, Honorable Sampa, for a wonderful report. It's a very, very beautiful report. One, on the Office of the Internal Auditor. Corporate governance and the international internal audit standards are very clear on who the internal auditor must report to. We respect that. So, but our concern is that maybe in future, let's consider the internal auditor to also include the Finance and Monetary Affairs Committee before they conclude their report, so that we can even have comments in that regard, because some of these findings that relate to finance, and we're only seeing them in that report. Before it's concluded, we'll not influence it, but just to have information on that report. And also, we know that the Finance Committee is also a subcommittee of the Bureau. Number 3, we need to encourage CAPA to assist to pursue the staff recruitment with the AU counterparts of the PRC subcommittee on audit matters, as they've told us that they do have this joint meeting. My time is up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's finished. La parole est à l'honorable député.
The floor goes to Honorable MP David from Eswatini.
Il n'est pas là.
Not in the chamber, it seems. I'd now give the floor to Honorable MP Roxon from Ghana.
Madam Chair, thank you very much. Let me focus my comments on paragraphs 4 of the PAC report. Madam Chair, my point is that the observation by the committee regarding weaknesses in PAC strategic plan: 1, performance indicators not in line with SMART criteria; 2, ineffective monitoring; 3, non-implementation of risk management systems, disaster recovery, and business continuity plan. Madam President, I believe that we need timelines for remedying these matters. It's good that PAC in its work was able to make this determination and made recommendations, but the recommendations should come with timelines that the Bureau should, by a certain time frame, determine and deal with these issues. Then, subparagraph 2 of 4. Again, we speak of deficiency in support staff. We should also be given the time frame within which the Bureau should remedy this. Then 3, paragraph 3 of sub 4. Claiming of non-claimant of VAT refunds. In the table provided, the figure for 2021 was not determined. And I believe that it was the duty of PAC, as part of its inquiry, to make that determination, to be able to give us the figure that was not claimed. So I believe that that ought to be done. Otherwise, it remains undetermined, it remains unclaimed. The problem won't be solved. Then 4.4, the staffers on their official duties carrying cash. It's a practice that should not be countenanced at all. And even though recommendations have been made, it should be so punitive for a staff to do this, and there should be sanctions provided that a staff that does this should be punished. I believe that that ought to be done. Then 5, status of the non-ratification of PAC protocol by members. Statistics have been given, but I believe that the report ought to have indicated the countries that have undertaken the ratifications and those that have not, so that we can focus on the countries that haven't done the ratifications and write to them.
Merci, Monsieur.
Thank you very much, Honorable MP.
Honorable député, nous avons.
Honorable members, we have Rule 32 of the rules saying that the sessions cannot go beyond 6 p.m. So let me consult with you, honorables. What are we going to do? Do we adjourn the session or do we make an exception? We have finished with the first official list, but there are approximately 12 more MPs who wish to take the floor still. What do we do?
The what?
Honorable Deputy, l'honorable.
Honorable members, Honorable Vice President Dr. Gayo will tell you what the result of our consultations with the Bureau are concerning the continuation of the session. Thank you.
Honorable President of Pan-African Parliament, Chief Charimbura, honorable members of Pan-African Parliament, our Secretariat too. Excellencies, we had very good debate on this matter. As you can see clearly, we have got so many brilliant ideas and also recommendations. At the same time, we can observe some redundancy. One member is repeating the other one, which was already spoken. Honorable members, it's my humble plea to you to go to adoption of this report rather than postponing for tomorrow. Thank you, honorable members.
Thank you, Honorable Vice President. C'était une décision.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vice President. This is a decision that was taken by consensus from members of the Bureau. Also, as members of Parliament, I believe that you will adopt this suggestion and avoid repetition. Next speaker is Mr. Mohammed from Chad, not in the chamber, it seems. Honorable Member of Parliament, shall we go to the adoption of the report? Do you all agree? Shall we adopt this report?
Merci.
Very well, thank you. Do we need any clarification from both the presenters?
C'est adopté.
D'accord, donc comme vous voulez. Donc je passe la parole au président.
Let me give the floor to the President of the Pan-African Parliament. There was supposed to be a Q&A session, Madam Vice President.
Point of order.
Allons-y, allez-y. Qu'est-ce qui veut prendre le...
Point of order.
OK, l'ordre, point de motion. D'accord.
Thank you, President. On a point of order, I think so that we can move smoothly, even though we are trying to squeeze for time, let's have a mover and a seconder. So I want to stand to move for the adoption of this report, so that we
respond. Point of order.
Point
of order.
They have not responded.
Allez-y,
point of order.
Honorable Abdallah.
Go ahead, Honorable Abdallah. I apologize, Madam Vice President, but we were on the list of Q&A. We have had two presentations, the presentation of the chairperson of CAPA and the presentation on the performance review report. So we need to ask for some clarification.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I think the adoption, before we adopted, response need to be made. Yes, and I think if you are appealing for us to summarize or not to repeat, but it's good for us to, talk on the documents.
Tout à fait d'accord avec vous.
I agree completely with you. So, this is how we will proceed. If somebody would really like to put a question, let them raise their hands and I'll give them a minute, and then we'll move on to the two speakers and then conclude. So the Honorable from Gambia, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you.
You have 1 minute.
I'm very good at summary. Yeah, Mr. President, the report is a very good report, and I want to thank the mover of CAPA of the report. But what I saw in the report, when you say benchmarking that they have they have done in EALA. Benchmarking, you do it with the parliament that you are in the same level. You cannot go to a benchmarking to a place that you are above. I think Pan-African Parliament is a continental parliament. So when we are doing benchmarking, we need to go to our standard, not below standard. EU, for example. Your Excellency, somebody talked about carrying large sums of money I want to know what do they mean by large sums of money, because sometimes in operations you need finances. And we all know how difficult it is to transfer funds. If I'm in Gambia, for example, there is an operation or a meeting to attend in Ethiopia, how do you make me to easily access? We all know that these bank payments are very tedious. So I think when we say large sum, we need to define what a large sum. The Malabo Protocol, we need to know why countries are not signing. Why are they not agreeing to it? There is something more than signing. I want the president to elaborate on this. We need to know why countries are reluctant to sign Malabo. There is something.
Okay, merci. Thank you. The last speaker, Honorable Abdullahi from Djibouti. Thank you, Madam President. As regards the COPPA report, it is mentioned that the audit implementation has not been done since 2018. Since 2018, it was at 75%, the level of implementation. Today, we have regressed to 62%, and I would like to know why. Secondly, unfortunately, we don't have the report of the president, his assessment report. Thirdly, we talked about amendments of the rules of procedure of the PAP. When are those going to be presented to us? The proposals for amendments of the rules of procedure. When are we going to have that, as well as the ratification? The Bureau of the PAP should devise a strategy to promote the ratification of the amended protocol of the 2014 protocol. And then the 5 members of the PAP Bureau should teach by example. Their countries need to ratify the amended protocol. Thank you, Honorable MP. But the 5 members of the Bureau are only members of Parliament, just like every other member of Parliament. So they have to invest, of course, but just like every other member of Parliament. Now, Honorable MP Samba, the Chair of COPPA, you have the floor. Thank you.
I agree with you, but sometimes it is a fact of budget, and I think in the next work plan for next year, we'll look to benchmark with the likes of EU. If anything, that's our only competitor or our only peer is the EU and not the regional parliaments. Honorable Tony from Eswatini, PAPA's power to recruit, we keep asking for that. I want to mention to you that the last I dealt with this matter, we dealt with this matter many times, and at one time the AU stated that actually PAP, we have powers to recruit, and at one time the portal that the AU uses to recruit, they had also given it to us at the IT here, and we had the powers to recruit. So unless that has changed, but I urge ourselves to relook at that. It could be we keep going to ask the AU permission to recruit when we have the powers to recruit ourselves. We just need to counter that because the budgets keep coming and the budgets keep going back for permanent staff. The line that is ever above budget is for support staff, but for permanent the money is there, but there's no staff. So we just need to make sure that do we have or we don't have powers, unless they were removed. But ideally, we should have our own rights to employ. PAP should be able, through the Bureau, to fit those positions and not go back to the AU. They should have nothing to do with our administration here at PAP. Professor Kama, diplomatic cards at Ayala and ECOWAS, indeed, that host agreement should be looked at critically by the Bureau to ensure that the host country, South Africa, no matter how powerful they are, they should honor what is in that agreement, regardless. So that needs to be followed, but our report in CAPA said it should be done at higher level of PAP, which is the Bureau. We were pursuing it ourselves, even the refund of tax, but I think the ultimate decision is that we should leave it to the Bureau to manage that for us. Honorable Bettine, colleague who was in CAPA now is moved on to the caucus of West Africa. Indeed, he's frustrated as much as we all are that have been in CAPA for a long time, because it's the same matters, year in, year out, no movements. We talk about host agreement, we talk about exceeding budget, we talk about
Conclude, President. Conclusion. Open the microphone.
Oh, okay. Honorable, it's a very important point. Honorable Mngatana stated no auditor is ever liked anywhere. Unfortunately for me, I'm liked. But I want to point out on the auditor of this parliament, Mr. Ohi, he's a one-man show. He's surely a lonely man because he raises these issues, and I must confirm to you he's not liked. And I want to ask to every one of us to embrace him because he's only doing his job and in line with what Honorable Mngatana has said. Otherwise, I thank all of you, and long live PAP and long live all members. Long live the Bureau. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chair of the CAPA Committee. Honorable Chief, you have the floor. Please forget for a while that you are the President and be brief. You have just 2 minutes.
I need to stand up.
2 minutes, 2 minutes.
Even 1 minute. Even 1 minute. You're not going to give me one. Host country agreement. We have been promised by DECO that by end of this month, they are giving us a draft for us to review as PAP. By end of this month. And the month has ended today, of course. So it means anytime from tomorrow. That's one. And I agree, special committee to look at the host country agreement. And as I say that the host country agreement has no terminal date. The agreement has no terminal date. So it's not correct to say it expired in 2009. But what expires are the annexures. There's annexures, the benefits of MPs, which can be changed. So the thing that we should be looking at in that committee are the annexures. What are we entitled as MPs of PAP? And the committee will look at that. I think we should celebrate good things. We should celebrate good things. The minister said the visas will be removed from 1 April, isn't it? Why is this not mentioned anywhere by anybody that we're actually moving large sums of money? In 1 minute, please allow me to say many things. Large sums of money, it's like this. Right now, we have been getting whatever allowances we get. If we get them, we go and get cash there. When there's a committee of finance or any CAPA meeting in Uganda, the MPs expect to get paid DMs for 5 days. If PAP employees go there without cash, would they access cash? Because some members will tell you that, look, my card cannot swipe in this country, I can't even pay for my accommodation. I think those are realities about us. If all MPs had the electronic cards, all of you, it's a question of transferring money from here into your account, and when you get to Uganda, you swipe. If that is what we are going to resolve, that no one will be given cash anywhere they go on trip, then let it be. But don't cry when you get there and say, finance, where is the money? You have to depend on your card. So, yes. Now, sorry, I'm trying to rush, Chair. No, the over-expenditure thing, I'll explain next time. It's not very correct to say there was any over-expenditure. I request for half a minute. Budget lines. Right. I mentioned this, that budget lines not utilized related to staff. Recruitment of staff, please, recruitment of staff is locked at the AU. We have just come from Malabo 3 weeks ago with all the organs, and this issue was raised at PRC Executive Council level. And the AU agrees that they've locked recruitment. So it's not unique to PAP. Please, I'm leaving a lot so that, the issue of, sorry, I've touched on it, but I won't respond. The extension by 7 months, I think it is out of order here. It's out of order in this chamber. Right, then we move on. But I want also to remind you that when we are debating, we are also on YouTube. The world is watching what we are doing here. And make sure that we are not perceived as a parliament in conflict, always, perpetually. We lost donors and partners when there was a war in this chamber in 2021. Some donors have not come back to this parliament. Just because.
Honorable President.
1 minute. Now, VAT claims, this has been on for more than 15 years. And we are serious. We need to try and finish. Oversight over AU agreed. Staff recruitment, okay. What else? Rules of procedure. Yes, the Rules Committee is meeting. I mentioned it earlier. They need to finish 120 proposed amendments, and we expect that the output to come to the chamber in November. So we are looking for the Rules Committee finalizing. The issue of Malabo is a complex matter. It's a complex matter. Members are not willing.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I think you should come back and assume your seat. Thank you, everyone, for your indulgence.
It is 6:15. It's 6:15. The only item remaining, which we agree, maybe we have to come tomorrow, back tomorrow morning, is the adoption of resolutions and recommendations. Can we come back tomorrow morning? What are you suggesting? Okay, those who say tomorrow, raise up your hands. Tomorrow? Those who say now. So we proceed. Now, can I appeal that these recommendations are issues that we debated already? They are just being recaptured now as a resolution. You are the ones who mentioned that we should be doing this. So let's not over-debate, please. I don't know, Madam Clerk, how do you present them? Yeah, I will say we will not read them. You just say this part. If there's an amendment, can you open your documents? We are just going to the final part, and then you say, yes, we agree, we move. Madam Clerk. Oh, there's a point of order. Yeah, no. The quorum, how it applies, is when we finish. Can we finally endorse? If there's no quorum, no. So what we intend doing is to go through all of them and agree that there's no quorum to finally endorse. When we meet next in a quorum, then we say, we then now can proceed and say yes to the amendments. That's better. Just go through, and then when we have a quorum, we'll endorse them or adopt them. Indeed, there's no quorum. Yes, so can we then proceed? Madam Clerk, be ready. Yes, I see there's an interest to speak.
Speaker, one, Mr. President, I rise to seek your guidance. Mr. President, quorum is a matter of fact. We secure quorum before we commence proceedings. And membership on the floor.
Sorry, I was not even paying attention. The Vice President was talking to me. Here's a suggestion.
Yes, Mr. President.
Just hold on. Here's a suggestion. Order.
Mr. President.
Order, even in the Parliament of Ghana, when the Speaker says order, you sit, take your seat. Right. Look, it's a suggestion. Why should we go through the amendment, the resolutions, if we won't adopt them? So why don't we do it at the next sitting when we have quorum, we go through them? Even tomorrow when they won't have a quorum, it's a given. We are unlikely to have a quorum tomorrow. So we agreed that we then defer it to the time maybe in September when we meet, we then do the adoptions. Is that the popular view? Those who object, anyone who objects?
Yes, I do.
Okay, fine.
Mr. President, I don't necessarily object, but I'm just thinking, how did we adopt the previous reports? Didn't those reports require a quorum? And what are we saying about them? I thank you.
Sorry, proceed.
Mr. President, thank you. Mr. President, one, quorum is a matter of fact. We secure quorum before commencement of proceedings. I was about to make the point my brother just made. We've adopted other reports. Now, membership on the floor is fluid. Members are on the floor, but they move in and out. So it is until a member raises the point that the motion we are about to adopt will lack quorum. That is when quorum becomes an issue. But to suo moto decide that we don't have quorum so we cannot adopt a report when membership is fluid, members are going in and out. Anyway, that is how a deliberative chamber works. So once there's no objection to quorum, it's assumed that the quorum that we had upon commencement of proceedings is still in force. So we have the mandate to adopt the resolutions as they've been prepared for our adoption.
Can I,
Mr. Chairman, the second, Mr. President, I'll be acquainted soon. Now, the other point I want to raise is about some amendments to the prepared text containing the resolutions sequentially prepared, if I may be permitted to do so before we proceed to amend them. So these are two propositions. No, just amendments as to title. There should be
no on the point of order, Mr. President.
Yeah. So these are two proposals
point of order, Mr.
before
President.
Mr. President.
Point of order.
Yeah, point of order.
Point of order.
No, thank you, Mr. President. I think, I mean, with due respect to the honourable member who was on the platform, I think the first thing that we need to determine is whether we are proceeding or not proceeding. And if the position is that we are without a quorum, there will be no reason for us to start entertaining any of the amendments. So my suggestion is that if the table is saying, in terms of our current composition, we do not meet the required quorum, that should be marking the end of our business, and then follow the suggestion that was suggested to you by the Vice President. Thank you.
There is another suggestion from the Secretariat. The Secretariat are saying they are confident that they will now mobilize MPs who are not here in Midrand or not in the chamber, so that they join virtually tomorrow morning at 9 to boost our numbers only. Then we'll have a quorum. Then we consider these things 1 hour, we are finished by 10:30, we call it quits.
I second the proposal.
You second that,
Yes.
but I can't propose as chair, so you propose yourself.
I propose. I rise to propose.
And seconded by...
We adjourn till tomorrow.
Honorable Majimbo, Honorable Tony. So, what we have agreed, sorry, excuse me, let's agree the following. That for the first time in the 2 weeks, we'll all be here by 9. So that we rise early and go. So that we have the numbers at 9 a.m. That for tomorrow only, let's be in the chamber by 9. Then,
Mr. President,
then number 2.
Mr. President, a point of procedure.
Let me finish. Let me finish. Number 2, all the caucus chairpersons, the vice caucus chairpersons, the rapporteurs of caucuses, the committee chairpersons, the delegation leaders, from this chamber, you get hold of everyone who is under your leadership, wherever they are, and tell them that tomorrow at 9, be connected, even if you are not in the chamber. Connected, please, then we'll have a quorum. So can we go and perform our duties as delegation leaders, as chairpersons of this and that, tomorrow, so that we have quorum at 9. I really don't see why we should continue, but the wise man, Honorable Kalasinga Majimbo.
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
30 seconds. 30 seconds.
15 seconds. Mr. President, there we agree with you. Kindly inform the transport department.
Yes, that is
vehicles
correct.
be at our hotel by 8:30.
Yes, but
thank you, Mr. President.
Agreed. Transport.
Monsieur le Président.
Our staff can listen.
Monsieur le Président.
Mr. Akbat, we want the staff to listen to this. MPs are saying we can be here by 9, even go up to 9. But if there's no transport, it's not possible. So can we arrange in such a way that tomorrow we all agree that we are picked by 8 from our hotels. By 8 o'clock, we should pick everybody from hotels. So that, please make a very deliberate effort about transport for tomorrow morning. Maybe another brilliant idea from Honorable Tony.
Thank you, Mr. President. So that we flow smoothly tomorrow morning, I've gone through the recommendations. There are some errors there I've highlighted to Secretariat. Maybe they can just clean it up tonight so that tomorrow we don't get delayed, some typos and everything.
Thank you. Where possible, read the document, text the Secretariat, whoever can text, and say page so and so in French. Paragraphs also fast, it can also move very fast. Can you send in quickly all those the things that you are identifying so that they attend to them before we sit? I think we have...
Monsieur le Président.
Ghana.
Yes.
Ghana, yes.
Mr. President, this is very important. We have just adopted the PAC report.
What?
We just adopted the PAC report and your own report. Yeah. We just adopted them. What numerical strength did we use to adopt those two reports?
No, okay, I make a ruling now.
Yes.
Order, Honorable.
Monsieur le Président.
Order, Honorable. Everyone in motion, Honorable, must be... Wait for me. The ruling is that we are adjourning sitting to tomorrow morning at 9. We are all going to be here. And if there are any issues we entertain them tomorrow morning. For now, good night. We meet tomorrow before 9 here. Thank you.